So if your marketing feels like you are yelling out into a void and nobody is listening, we're going to help you with that today. And we're going to talk about the number one mistake I see with clinicians when it comes to their marketing. I'm Danny Matta. I'm the founder of PT Biz. And over the last 10 years, I've started a clinic, I've grown that clinic, I've sold that clinic, and I've helped over 1,000 clinicians start, grow, and even sell their clinics as well. Now, when we look at marketing, marketing is how we get people in the door, right? So we say like marketing gets them in the door, sales gets them to pull their credit card out. And today we're going to talk about the number one mistake I see with marketing when it comes to what clinicians are doing. And this isn't necessarily going to be, hey, this is this one platform tactic that you can do. This is more general than that. This is actually something that if you don't get this right, it doesn't really matter what platform you use or what tactic you implement or what company you hire to run your ads. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't get this one thing down. And what that is your clarity of message in regards to what it is you do and who you help in particular. So we talk about this as understanding your avatar in marketing. So your avatar is not the blue people on, whatever the planet is in the Avatar movies, which is awesome, by the way, but this is different than that. This is the representation of who it is that you work with and being able to clarify that very well, being able to articulate who it is you work with and who you help at a very detailed level. Now, if you don't understand your avatar, how are you going to understand what you're trying to educate them on, where you're going to find them, what type of emails you should send out, what type of social media content you should be producing, all of the different marketing channels that you're going to need to know. You have to start with this first. And if you don't start with this, and I didn't start with this in my clinic, it feels like you're just throwing stuff out there and you're seeing what sticks. And even if you do see something that gains a little bit of traction, you don't really know why. You're just like, oh, okay, I got to do more of that. And this is where we see people go down this rabbit hole of marketing where they're essentially marketing to the response they get on social media platforms, which can be grossly skewed, by the way. And I'll give you a good reason. If I put a piece of content out like this about understanding your marketing avatar and clarity around your marketing message for cash-based clinicians, I am not going to get as many views as if I say something, really contentious about a political topic or the insurance company, business model as a whole, or if I just dance around like a fool, then I'll get more views. But those views and that reach doesn't necessarily mean that I'm reaching the right people. So I don't really care about views and reach and all of that. I care about the message, what I'm sharing, because it's very specific to the right person that I know I can help. So for you have to think about the same thing. And in order to do that, you really have to get clear on who you help, who they are, and in a very detailed way, where they hang out, what their interests are. And then you can start speaking to them about what problems you see that you can directly address, or what things that they're interested in that you can help them with, or educate them on, or be an advocate for the things that they're concerned with. This is where your messaging starts to become very clear about who you work with. And I'll give you a really good example. When I was running Athletes Potential, we went through an exercise with our staff where we actually built out our marketing avatar. So this is actually naming somebody and creating this avatar of this person in detail. So when we went through this, we created an avatar for marketing, and his name was Greg. So Greg was a 50-year-old attorney. He had 2 daughters. He was an ex-athlete, still very active, working out, running, doing recreational races like half marathons and 70.3 triathlons. He coached his kids' basketball team, was heavily involved in youth athletics with his kids. And Greg gets together with his friends every year. And every single year, he sees his friends becoming more and more unhealthy. And he doesn't want to be like them. Now, you can go into even more detail in terms of where he hangs out, what sort of hobbies he has, what types of information he's consuming, what websites he's on, what social media platforms. You can go very, very in depth in this. But just understanding that For me, when I write an email for the clinic, I'm writing that email to Greg. I'm writing that email as if I'm emailing him directly. When I put a piece of social media content together, I am talking into that, video. I'm explaining something in that video as if I'm explaining it to Greg. The copy, the verbiage that I'm using in the post, I am writing that out as if I'm describing that to Greg. When I talk to people in the community about who I crush it with, I explain basically what Greg is without saying, send me Greg. I say, this is the group that we do really well with. The thing with Greg that's also really interesting is Greg values time over money. Time is very important to him, incredibly important, busy person. They want expertise. They want to be treated, in an individualized way. They do not want to go to a traditional clinic where they're getting lumped in there with a bunch of people that are going through all different types of rehab, and they're working with people that are not really specialized in working with this type of an adult athlete. And he really, really values the expertise of a clinic like ours. So for us, this was paramount, so important to be able to dial in our marketing and everything we're going to do, because you'll hear everyone will say, well, if you don't have a newsletter, your clinic is not going to do well. Well, if you don't run Meta ads, your clinic isn't going to do well. If you don't run Google ads, your clinic isn't going to do well. If you don't have a website that has this type of video on it, it's not going to do well. If you don't go do workshops, your clinic's not going to do well. All these things, they could be true, but they're not true unless you dial in your messaging. You dial in who it is that you work with and why they would want to work with you. And it's because you have to deeply understand the person that you are trying to help. And even if you look at this from another lens, let's say you're looking at this from PT Biz, right? It should be quite obvious to you that I understand how to start a clinic, how to grow a clinic, but the pain points associated with that, how to deal with that, how to systemize a clinic, how to get a clinic to a point where it's sellable, or remove yourself in an autopilot clinic, and to try and be able to do all that without burning down all the people and important relationships and your health around you at the same time, which is a very hard thing to do. Now, why can I talk about that in great detail? It's because I've done that. I've done the exact same thing. So when I'm putting a marketing message together, whenever I'm writing an email, I'm basically talking to a future version of, or a past version of myself. I wish that I could have helped get through all this shit without learning everything the hard way. So when I have a chance to, write a marketing message or to do a piece of content, it's very easy for me to think through those things, because all I'm trying to do is help past Danny be able to deal with the stuff that I had to learn the hard way, and hopefully you don't have to learn it the hard way. This is clarifying a marketing message. And if you are not clear on who you're speaking to, on who you're writing that blog post for, on who you're trying to go out and find in the community, then you are going to spread yourself very thin. You're going to become a generalist, and a generalist is white noise in today's healthcare economy. If you want to be a generalist, your best bet is to try to build a massive in-network clinic in whatever capacity you can, because that is a generalist approach. You're going to try to get as many people in the door. It doesn't matter who they are, or what they're looking for, or what specialization you may or may not have. You're just taking anybody. That's very hard to do in a cash-based or hybrid world. You're much better off focusing on a specific type of person and clarifying that message in a way that it's so clear to them that you understand their pain points, that you're the expert that can help them. This is something that they talk about in marketing, where if you can articulate the pain points that somebody's feeling right now, you instantly become a likely solution to that problem. Like when I talk to people about, the feeling of uncertainty, like let's say you've run a clinic and now you've grown into a standalone space, and you are scared out of your mind because you've now taken on a 5-year lease for thousands of dollars a month. You have equipment loans. Maybe you have an expansion loan. You're hiring people. You've never really hired people before. You don't know what to do. You don't know if you're a good leader or not. You think you might be, but you're not sure how to give people feedback. You're not sure how to tell if they're doing the right thing or wrong thing. You've never fired somebody in your own business before. You're scared to do so because you know that they're dependent on your business for buying groceries and paying their mortgage. But if somebody's underperforming, you you got to do something about it because it's hurting your business and you're not sure if you're doing the right thing. When I say that and you're listening to this, I probably seem like the solution to your problem because I understand what you're fucking going through. I get it. Like that's as simple as it. That's marketing. But you can't make that shit up. You can't make it up. AI will not tell you that shit. You can't read that in a book and feel that and understand that. And if you can talk to that level about your patient that's a tennis player that you love working with, and you can talk about tennis elbow and the ability to maintain their community with their tennis team and be around them and enjoy all of the elements of the social side of that. If you can speak to that in great detail, if you can speak to the nuances of the sport and what people are looking for, you're going to have a ton of tennis players who are going to want to work with you. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm trying to get to the point of why your message, your clarity, and understanding your avatar is so important. Because all people want to know is, what's the vehicle? Tell me the magical ad I need to run. What's the funnel? What's the whatever? Sub anything you want in there for what the marketing is. It doesn't matter unless you have your avatar and your message dialed in. And that is something that's really hard to do because you have to think through who is this person in great detail. And you have to be able to remember that and be able to tell people in your community about that in a succinct way, in a very, very detailed way, and understand their problems so that they realize that you really understand them and you instantly become the solution to their problem. And they're far less price sensitive. Think of it this way. If you're a generalist and you work on all kinds of cars and you're a mechanic, you're going to be able to charge X amount of money, whatever that is. If you're a specialist and you only work with Porsches or whatever, or import vehicles, you're going to be able to charge way more because there's very few of you, and they know that you're going to do the work correctly, and they can trust their car with you or whatever, right? Like the same thing goes in medicine. You're a general family practice doctor or you're a heart surgeon. Which one do you think makes more money? The heart surgeon, obviously, right? Because they're more specialized. And if you're more specialized and you have a niche in which you can truly help people and you can get out and you can represent that in the community and you can do that in social media and you can do that on your website and you can do that in your newsletters and everything else that goes into this, you're going to be just fine. But step number one is dialing in your marketing message, dialing in your avatar. And if you need help getting your business squared away to where this is something that is a key element of your business, you're doing it correctly, you're getting your brand out there correctly, you're actually driving the right people in the door, then you have to work on sales problems and hiring problems and finance problems. And these are all good problems to have because you're growing. We can help you with all this. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. I've been there. We've helped 1,000 clinicians start, grow, and scale their businesses over the last 8 years. This isn't 1,000 people that read a blog post. This is 1,000 people that I've shook their hand, I've met them face to face, and we have helped them along the journey of starting and growing a business as a clinician, which is a hard thing to do because we did not learn this in school. So if that sounds like something you want help with, head to physicaltherapybiz.com, take a look at what we have going on, read about some of the people we've worked with, get some of our free resources. We have a fantastic 5-day challenge. You can even get the book that I wrote there, and it's like $4.99 or something like that with a ton of awesome training that go with it. Like, dip your toe in the water and see if we're worth it, and head to the website and check that out. But if this is what you're here for and you like the podcast, you like the YouTube video, cool. We'll keep showing up for you every single week. We've been doing it now. This is, I think, the 829th or 830th podcast that I've done. We're not stopping anytime soon because we're here to help the profession, and that's not going anywhere. So as always, thanks so much for listening and watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.